Welcome to the FAR course. My name is Kieran Doe. I'm a senior tutor at ACA Masters, a multiple ICAEW prize winner, and I look forward to getting you through your FAR exam. The FAR course is structured around the questions you'll face in your FAR exam. There'll be 4 questions in your FAR exam. The first will require you to prepare a set of single entity financial statements. You'll then be required to explain the accounting treatment of a set of transactions. There'll be a question where you have to prepare balances from group accounts. There'll also be a mixed topic question, which will include a cash flow statement. In addition, there'll also be some smaller sub-requirements as part of these other questions, which will focus on the conceptual framework, UK GAAP, and ethics. So therefore, the FAR exam is fairly predictable because we know what the questions will be in the exam. So therefore, the course is structured around these questions you'll face in your exam. So the course begins by focusing on single entity financial statements. And it starts by looking at assets before working through various other topics as well, such as revenue, provisions, financial instruments, equity, leases, etc. So the way that each class will be structured is that the class will begin by me teaching you the key technical content. So we'll focus on the key content you need to know for the exam, and I'll explain that technical content in a simplified way so it's easy to understand. Immediately after explaining the technical principles, I'll then demonstrate exactly how to answer exam questions on that topic. So I'll work through recent papers in full to show you exactly how you should read the requirements, work through the question information, and most importantly, exactly how you should structure your answer and in which order you should do things. So I'll teach you the technical content and then show you how to answer exam questions on that topic. So for example, the assets class, I'll explain the technical content and then show you how to answer exam questions. And we'll begin by focusing on the explain the accounting treatment exam questions. Then what you can do after each class is you can then go away and make sure you've understood the technical content which I've taught you. So you can then go away and use our FAR materials where we've summarized the key technical content that you need to learn. And you can practice learning this by reading it, making sure you understand it, and then see if you can reproduce it from memory. Because if you can, that means you've learnt it and you have that knowledge ready to use in the exam. It's ingrained into your brain. So firstly, make sure that you've understood and learnt the key technical content. So what's the key points on assets. And then you can go away and practice exam questions on that topic so that you implement those exam techniques which I've taught you during the class. So I'll teach you the technical content and then show you how to answer the exam questions. You can then go away, make sure you've fully learned and understood that technical content, and then you can also go away and practice similar questions and just answer the questions in the same way that I did them. And that will ensure that you also pick up close to full marks. So you can go to the master plan and we'll have a list of questions here by each topic. And therefore you have a list of questions. You don't have to work through them all at once. You could do 3 or 4, and then you may feel comfortable with that topic, and you can then move on to the next topic and come back to some of the other questions when you revise this topic at a later date. So then you can move on and we'll do the same thing with revenue. Watch the class. I'll teach the technical content, show you how to answer the exam questions. You then go away, make sure you've understood that technical content, and then go to the master plan and practice several questions on revenue one after the other, and then you can have that topic mastered. And then provisions, equity and financial instruments, leases, etc. Just go through them all, ticking them off one by one, and therefore you would have covered the single entity technical content and how to do explain the accounting treatment questions. So we'll then move on and focus on the single entity financial statement preparation questions. So as we've already covered the technical content, this is just simply a case of focusing on exam technique for this particular question type for the question 1. So as well as dividing it down into topics, we've also divided it down into question types. So you could get single entity financial statement preparation where it's P&L, SFP and OCI, or P&L, SFP and statement of change in equity, or P&L, SFP with a disclosure note. So therefore there is a video class on each type of question, so I can show you exactly how to answer each type of question. And you can then go to the master plan and you'll have all of the questions which fall under each type listed out, so you can then go and practice several one after the other. And then you'll have 2 questions in the FAR exam kind of ticked off your list and mastered. And then we'll move on to the next topic, which is groups. So again, there's some technical content explained at the start. And then you can see there's a class on each different question type. So you could be required to do a group SFP or a group P&L and statement of change in equity, or a P&L and SFP extracts. And it could have an associate or joint venture in it, or it might not. It could have a disposal of a subsidiary. So therefore you can see we've covered each type of group question. So again, you can watch the class, understand the technical tuition, watch me demonstrate how to answer exam questions, and then you can go away and just make sure you've understood that technical content I've taught you, and then answer the questions in the same way as I did them. And then we'll do the same thing for cash flow statement. So again, technical tuition on cash flow statements, and then I'll show you how to answer each type of exam question. And you then go away, go to the master plan, and you can then practice questions on each type. And as I've said, we know that there'll be questions on these 3 topics as well. So then the final class will focus on those 3 smaller topics, but shouldn't be neglected because they are worth a substantial amount of marks, usually around 12, 13, as much as 15 marks in the FAR exam. So it's a substantial amount of marks. We shouldn't neglect those, and we'll cover those at the end. But again, in exactly the same method as with the other topics. So you'll have the bit of technical tuition on the differences between IFRS and UKGAP, and then can go away and then practice the questions, and of course having them all split down by the individual topics, so you can practice several similar questions one after the other. So by following this approach, I'll show you how to master each question and each topic one by one, and therefore this will enable you to be getting full marks or very close to full marks on each question type. So one step at a time, we'll master each question and each topic one by one, and then by the end you'll be in a position where you can get close to full marks on the FAR exam and hopefully win a prize. So we've had some very high marks in FAR. We've had students win prizes for their performance in the FAR exam having used this course. We've had several students scoring in the high 80s, which is very impressive marks for what is a very technically challenging exam. So therefore this approach has a high level of success, and I look forward to getting you through your FAR exam with top marks.